Hello and welcome to this tutorial on AE2 Autocrafting. Today I will be showing you how to set up the simplest possible autocrafting system. This video is aimed at people who just want to have the simplest possible setup or have already done it but need a refresher on how to do it. So, first of all you want to have your ME system set up, so we've got that here. For the simplest possible option we just need ME controller, ME drive, and are we going with a creative energy cell? This wouldn't work in survival. So then you hook this up to an interface, preferably a crafting interface, crafting terminal I mean. Then you just pull that over to, I'm going to put it to here. Get yourself a crafting co-processing unit. The more crafting processing units your multi-block has, the more tasks can be done at once. So for the simplest possible, we're just going one. The multi-block is called a crafting CPU, so if people are talking about the CPU, they mean the multi-block. If they're talking about the co-processing unit, they mean that. So then you add on the crafting storage, which provides storage space for the crafting co-processing unit to allow multiple crafting jobs to be processed simultaneously. So that is basically the simplest possible multi-block. It has to be a cuboid, or so basically that shape, or that shape. Or that shape, or something. It can't, and the easiest way to check if it's functional is it looks different, and it won't connect to an ME Fluix cable. You can add crafting monitors, if you want, and create a crafting units. Crafting units are basically so you want this setup, but that isn't a cube, that isn't the right shape, so these are basically cheaper, these crafting units, and you can just plump them down, and they don't actually have a function, they just sort of act as filler. Crafting monitor would show you the task that's currently being done and how far it's gotten so far. So how do we actually hook this up to a crafting thing? So you get yourself a molecular assembler, plop that there. Now these can either be used with one pattern or with multiple patterns by putting an ME interface next to them. ME interfaces can store 9 patterns. We'll get to the patterns in a moment. If you want to put something in a furnace, or this would probably also work for macerators or other blocks that have an input and an output. Preferably you'd want an electric furnace so that you don't run out of fuel or have to refill it. And then you get an import bus. Import is it puts it into the ME system, export is it takes it out of the ME system. So that is now functional because it will put stuff in the top, take it out to the bottom. All blocks are directional, so a furnace takes stuff in from the top and puts it out on the bottom. For instance, thermal, whatever it's called these days, you can configure it to have input, output, wherever. IC2, I think, uses the same system as normal Minecraft, which is in on the top, out at the bottom. So, now we have our basic setup. Crafting. So you want to make yourself one of these blank patterns. Take that blank pattern, put it in an ME pattern terminal. Now the ME pattern terminal will store them, so if you go out of the inventory it will keep them there. Put them in that slot there, and now you can program it to make a door, for instance. So you just put it in that crafting field there. You won't be able to craft with this field, you can only make patterns. Why is it raining again? And then you press encode pattern, and then it'll teach it how to make a door. Then you put that in the ME interface above the thing, and it will show up. Basically, if you hold shift, by the way, it will show you what is made by the encoded pattern. So now we've got a molecular assembler that's been taught how to make doors. We'll take these 2 patterns I made earlier. So that would now show up here under Craftable, if you have the view set to stored and craftable, or just craftable. So now say I want a pickaxe, which I programmed earlier. You can just press that, tell how many you want. I want 5, for instance. Press next. That's how much bytes used. That is also where you need the crafting storage. So if you need more bytes used, you can just add more storage. Tell it to start, and it'll start making those. So, but what if you want to smelt iron into iron ore, for instance? Basically, you get yourself some iron ore and an iron ingot. So basically, you need the input item and the output item. Then you go into this pattern terminal, set the crafting pattern type to processing pattern. That would be the same for crushers, macerators, which are the same thing, but you know what I mean. Put the input in the left and the output in the right. Encode that. Then you put the pattern, which creates iron ore or any other item that you want to smelt, into the patterns section in the ME interface, and then you can craft iron. I need to press start, so don't forget to press start, and you'll tell that lights up, Smelting the iron. Gets sucked out immediately and is now in there. Simple. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them in the comments. This is basically the gist of it, how to set up the simplest possible system. Now, if you want to make any bigger stuff like auto-crafting nano armor, then I'd recommend making a much bigger system, but this works. For like minor things, or minor to most things, I'd say this is enough. You could also put in an ME interface terminal, which will show you what's actually hooked up. So, for instance, it tells you about the furnace makes iron and the molecular assembler can make those three things out of wood. So, if that helped you, please like the video, and have a nice day. Again, any questions, I'll try to answer them in the comments. I'm not an expert, but I do know most of how this works. Right, have a nice day.